And now it's time for another special feature.
Tickle.
Did you grow up with the NES, PlayStation, Star Wars, cartoons, and 80s TV? Do you like to think who would win in a fight between Batman and the Master Chief? Comics, games, movies, music, and TV. They're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. Comics, games, movies, music, and TV. They're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. ThisWeekInGeek. ThisWeekInGeek.
Hey guys, what's going on? You are listening to ThisWeekInGeek.net, and welcome to yet another commentary. A little bit later than we would have expected, but that's okay. I'm one of your hosts, Mike the Birdman. I'm joined by my fellow attendee at camp,
Alex, the producer.
That's right, guys. So we were originally going to do this for Labor Day, but if you've been following our Twitter feeds and our personal lives, life got complicated over the last couple weeks.
It got too busy where it wasn't going to be fun.
Yeah, like we just had a lot of things going on. We just had a federal election. I just started school.
You were having family visit from out of province.
Yeah.
And it was hot and muggy and crappy and it's like, nah. And then we're like, wait, there's a new holiday for at least Canada at the end of the month.
Yeah, exactly. So for those of you that don't know, September 30th is being recognized as Truth and Reconciliation Day, which is to bring light to Indigenous issues. As you people know, I am Indigenous. I'm
Surprise and shock.
Surprise and shock. I'm Chippewa of Nawash, Ojibwe Indian, so First Nations. I'm Clan Bear. I don't know my spirit name yet, just because I've talked to some local elders, but that's neither here nor there. And today's movie we picked not because we wanted to make some big political statement, but because it's fun. It might be a little cartoony in terms of how they present things, but this movie comes from a very different era of filmmaking, more comedic. And we're going to be talking about one of the first kids movies I ever remember seeing, and it was a childhood favorite, and the lead actor is unfortunately no longer with us anymore, and that is actor Jim Varney, aka John Cena if he was reincarnated in a previous life, because John Cena is slowly turning into Jim Varney
On steroids.
On roids, yeah. So Alex and I talked about this earlier during the summer, like, why don't we do Ernest Goes to Camp? And I thought that was a really good idea.
We did Ernest Goes to Jail, and we did Scared Stupid.
Yep.
And I was like, I've only seen this movie maybe once, the original, and I know it was the highest budgeted one at the time. Like, it's the one that looks the most like a movie. It's in like CinemaScope and everything. And then I'm like, and then we can do the Christmas one maybe.
Yeah, so this is what we're going to be doing today. So for those of you that want to watch along with our commentary, and for those of you that are maybe here for the first time, this is more of reaction, jokey. There's not a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I know, but there's a lot of memories kind of tied up in all this.
You're sitting with us, we're chilling, watching a movie together.
Yeah, exactly. So now finding this to watch with us, you will have to have either a Blu-ray copy of this, a DVD copy, or
VHS.
or less than ethical means to find this movie.
Yeah, depending on your region, country, and
streaming services
available, it's going to be different. This isn't something you can just pop up on YouTube, unfortunately, to rent, but my guess is iTunes.
Yeah, so look around, you can find it. So we're watching a digital copy
from the Blu-ray.
From a Blu-ray, so timing should work out. Your counter should read 0 across the board, and we will talk to the end of the credits, which is 1 hour, 32 minutes, and even seconds. So without any further ado, we're going to start the movie, so get your counters ready. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go. You should see the Touchstone logo.
I miss that logo. They don't use it anymore, do they?
I don't think so. Like, this to me was like peak mid 80s to about mid 90s.
Touchstone, Trimark, and like New Line were always in the same league as when I remember them on Hollywood Pictures.
What
like
was
the
that
B tier.
company that had like the river logo? You know which one I'm talking about?
Castle Rock, maybe?
Maybe. So many lifetimes ago.
Castle Rock was the one with the I think it was the river next to the whatchamacallit.
So again,
White House.
I don't know how racially sensitive this is.
Where again, it's not about that. Yeah, if you want to consult and
Yeah, like
and reflect on the
cultural sensitivity.
that's one thing. It's also a stat holiday weekend, so
Yeah, like again, and as a First Nations person, I don't take any.
it's an earnest
Offense.
movie.
Yeah.
There's nothing here that it's all about intent too.
Yeah,
right?
like this is more meant to show the fearlessness of them, the spirituality of it, and obviously with different clans and tribes.
Wait, doesn't the one dude there, the dude that's getting the axes thrown at him, is that a Red Hot Chili Peppers logo on his chest?
No, that's the logo of the camp they go to, Kilowake or something.
Oh, okay. Shows how much I know. Again, I've seen this maybe once when I was a kid, even though I've seen Goes to Jail like 100 times.
I always thought that was really cool how he has to pass the trials, and it's the trial of fear or whatever. But that's pretty cool, and the eagle feather in many cultures, I guess clans, again, from what I understand, is very significant, and you have to be given it or earn it. And good old Ernest, may he get his eagle feather.
It's always great hearing him in the first 4, maybe 5 movies before you could hear that his throat cancer was starting.
Mm-hmm. And he was such a kind man. Like, I've read stories how he would do visits to children's hospitals all the time. He would do a lot of charity work like that. And Jim Varney genuinely loved the character because he could perform, like, in my opinion, not to put too fine a point on it, he was an artist. Like, willing to go that extra mile, perform. He really embodied his character.
And a lot of people say, oh, he went past the prime of the character. You know what? I honestly think
he didn't write them that I know of.
2 issues with it, with the later films. Going to full screen makes it look like a cheap TV movie. Plus they filmed it cheaper, even though it had the same director for basically all the films.
I think the first 3 anyway.
No, they all did, I think.
Really?
For the
Okay.
most part. The same producers, right? So it was a budgetary constraint, right? When they had that 4-picture deal and they didn't get renewed for the 5th one.
Yeah.
And that one tanked in theaters because it just looked cheap. But the last couple he did, I think, was it Africa or Slam Dunk was the second last one? And then the last one was in the Army. That was so cheap looking. He still was willing to do it, even when you could hear in his voice that he was not a well man.
And then he started filming the Ernest...
in space.
No, it was the pirate movie.
Yes.
And then they got halfway through it.
Yes.
And then he passed away.
They were looking to secure funding for the space one after that.
I think Ernest Goes to NASA would have been awesome.
Well, that's what it would have been. It would have been him getting...
it would have been a live-action version of the Homer Simpson episode,
the
right?
plot was supposed to be that he won a contest to go to the space training program.
Ernest Goes to Space Camp. The name writes itself.
Now, wouldn't that have been like that movie with the Canadian comedian? What was it called? Rocket Man?
Yes, with Harlan Williams.
That's the basic same idea.
Oh, man. Actually, you know what might be a fun commentary for Aaron and Darlene to do? Because they're both fucking dorks. Space Camp. Because that's another iconic 80s movie. And not a lot of people talk about that now. I'm actually kind of surprised it's never been remade.
I had it on VHS.
I've only ever seen the poster and a few scenes from it.
You're right. The more I see this, the more I'm like, if you put on about 70 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, it's John Cena. And if John Cena did a biopic for Jim Varney, I'd totally be fine with that.
If Jim Varney hadn't passed away and he was still alive, he could easily play his dad in a movie.
Yeah, that'd be fucking fantastic. I'm Peacemaker's dad.
Could you imagine? No. Can you imagine if we had? It was like, Ernest Jr. and it's just Cena. He should do that on like an SNL sketch.
I think that'd be pretty funny, and he would have a good enough like sense of humor about it to probably do it. See, this was what I thought was the iconic camp experience because I've never gone, but you have.
I didn't do summer camp. Like, my parents could never afford that.
You did a weird hybrid version.
We did the week of camp that our grade 8 school trip did. Like, a lot of grade 8 trips were to Ottawa.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Back in the day in the 60s and 70s, it was a trip to New York City to go to the UN building. And then they stopped doing that. But they did Ottawa instead. My school was different in that the grade 7 trip that I couldn't afford to go on was to Montreal in Old Quebec City. For part of French. And then the grade 8 trip instead of there was to go to Camp Wabanaki up north. So it was camping with people. Some you get along with, some you don't. But by the end of it, you're all delusional because you're so hot and you have cheesies exploding everywhere and nobody showers because they sleep through it. And it becomes a terrifying mess of body odor. But you love it because you remember those memories for the rest of your life. So in a way, you might have missed out a little bit.
I think the closest we came, when I was in elementary school, we did a thing that was called the Outdoor Education Center for a couple of nights. And it was during the winter time. So we were taught hunting, tracking, and trapping, and wilderness survival. And I thought that was really interesting. We also played a game. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was called Rabbit. And you would be hunter and prey.
Yeah. And you had to hide your tracks and everything.
I got stuck as a rabbit because fat kid, they assume I'm going to lose. They didn't count on me doing camouflage. So I just hid in a snowbank, carved myself out a place to breathe and where I could look, and covered my tracks. So I just waited out the entire game. And when I was fucking freezing.
And when they showed up, you pulled out a big knife like Rambo and started killing your classmates.
Yes.
because some
in order to win war, you must become war.
Because some part of you was still left back there.
Yes.
You have a flashbacks.
You know what's amazing? And I just had this thought now. Do you realize how many movies took place at summer camps in the 80s? You had this. You had Friday the 13th, The Burning. I think Porky's took place at a summer camp or something.
Some parts of it would have. Meatballs.
Meatballs.
Which I've still never seen.
I've seen parts of it.
And then tons of them. And you go into the 90s and you had this. We talked about Camp Nowhere.
Nowhere, yep, with Christopher Lloyd, which I'm going to put this out into the universe now. That is next year's summer commentary.
You think so?
Because that looks fun.
So that'll be our, Canada Day or Labor Day or something, one of those ones?
Like, here's something that I want to do, and I'm just going to pitch it here on the podcast live. I want to do stupid kids movies from the 80s and 90s. Because you know what? They're fun. 9 times out of 10, they're not offensive. And you see a lot of up-and-coming stars.
We got to do Rookie of the Year then.
Yes, absolutely. Didn't that guy, he's like a musician now, isn't he?
I don't know. All I know is
I think he fronts a band or something.
All I know is that it's still, to this day, I laugh at,
he gets his needle.
Yes. But isn't Rookie of the Year the only Gary Busey movie your wife can watch?
I think so. Because he's Chet.
It's the only movie he plays a straight man completely in, where he's a good guy without a crazy laugh or nutsoid.
He has moments where you can see it sort of coming through, but that was before his head injury?
No, it was after.
Oh, wow.
But you know what it is? He had a mustache, and I think the mustache tamed the beast. But yeah, she's like, I can't watch it. She goes, that's the only movie I'll watch with him in it. Oh, good God.
Oh, those big-ass needles.
It's like one of those ones you inject into a
horse?
Into a roast where you get, like, garlic injection.
Much?
Oh, good God. I'd rather have the gun. You remember that our parents used to have, where it was like the 5 or 6 needles shot in the arm and they have the permanent scar?
Where's the goddamn hypo spray from Star Trek already? But then again, I guess you don't want air bubbles in your blood.
It's like the size of a catheter needle. No, thank you. Well, he just made a Joseph Mengele joke, which we were talking about it being a family-friendly time. He just made a Holocaust reference.
Oh, boy.
Whoops. Don't blame me. I've only seen this once when I was like 6.
Yeah, it's so weird to look back at some of these through the lens of cultural sensitivity now.
And this being done in like the ultra widescreen, the higher budget, you could see it looks like a Friday the 13th movie in the budget, whereas the others look a little more warm.
Well, Friday the 13th had a remarkably low budget.
No, but
this has really good set dressing.
It has a horror look. This looks.
I can see that.
This looks more like a horror film the way it's shot than Ernest Scared Stupid does.
Yeah. Because Ernest Scared Stupid was like a lot of the cameras didn't move. Here they're moving.
Yeah, a lot of movement. It feels like a higher quality film stock, which is always interesting.
Another thing that I loved about Jim Varney was that utter committal to physical comedy. And that is something you don't see a lot of comedians, in my opinion, do now.
Like he was basically kids Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Like
right around the same time that Jim Carrey was starting to get big. I mean, he had his big break in '94.
Yeah.
Right as
The Mask and Ace Ventura.
But right as Ernest's career was winding down.
Yep.
But,
and Chris Farley was starting to come up with
but if you
SNL.
go 87 to like 93, a lot of the kind of comedy that Jim Carrey would do in the mid 90s is sort of
Jim
what
Varney,
he was doing, only maybe a little more PG-13.
Who's the modern physical comedian?
Like true physical comedy?
Yeah. John Cena can do it, but he's more inflection.
Pure like a comedian.
Slapsticky, yeah.
I mean, Will Sasso did it for a while.
That's the Ted Lasso guy?
No.
No, that's Jason Sid, whatever.
Yeah, Will Sasso's the dude from Mad TV, the bigger guy.
Yeah.
And he played Curly in the Three Stooges movie. Like, he's done that. But as far as, like, pure, like, rubber face ridiculousness, a lot of that comedy kind of died out, like, after...
The 2000s?
Yeah, like Rob Schneider wasn't really doing them anymore.
Sean William Scott would commit to it.
Like, remember, like, Corky Romano and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of those SNL guys were doing it, but there's not really a slapsticky SNL person anymore.
Yeah, not really. Will Ferrell, not so much. He was better with delivery.
Maybe it's just that there's not a ton of young guys doing it. Like, there's guys doing comedy, like, and they'll do stuff where they get hurt and stunts, but there's not somebody really that's like...
That's their shtick.
Their whole shtick is the multiple frantic characters. Like, I always felt that Ernest was like a mixture of Jim Carrey and Robin Williams.
One thing I like, wait until it goes back to Ernest and look at the intensity in Varney's face. Like, you can really see the performer in there. And I really like that. And that's why I miss him. When he passed away, I was remarkably upset.
Yeah.
Like, very, very, very much so. Because, like I said, this is a guy that I grew up with. I wouldn't say idolized, but I felt comfortable. Like, he was my comfort.
Am I the only one that really liked his Beverly Hillbillies movie?
Yes, I saw that in theaters. I really liked
too.
it, too. He was a great Jed Clampett.
There was a period where those 1930s to 1950s
remakes,
like shorts and then TV shows, were getting remade, and they were actually kind of decent. The Little Rascals one was pretty good too.
Yep, I saw that in theaters too. I think I saw that at a drive-in.
Talk about like weird directors though. It's like Penelope Spheris did that. She's the one that directed Wayne's World and then a bunch of heavy metal documentaries. Like, okay, oh god.
Wayne's World was kind of a fun one, too. I'm trying to think of, like, other ones from this time that really kind of stick out to me.
Like kids' comedies, you mean?
Yeah, I saw Little Giants for the first time last year, and I really enjoyed that. Heavyweights you mentioned. One that I like is called Ladybugs. It's one I don't know if you couldn't get away with making it today, but it's where Jonathan Brandis, the guy who was on Sequest DSV,
yep,
and he unfortunately passed away due to suicide. But he dressed up as a girl named Martha, so because he wasn't allowed to play on his team, So he played for the girls' teams and kicked the crap out of the other people. He also did another movie with Chuck Norris, which is a weird vanity vehicle.
Sidekicks?
Yeah, Sidekicks. That's another movie.
A lot of clips from his other movies.
Yeah, because it was like Back in Action, Delta Force.
What they did was they found a way to work. The kid would work himself into scenes from the movies in his imagination.
Yeah, and then they'd get one shot where the two of them would be together. Like
they did the whole Forrest Gump where they superimposed them into the scene.
And
then of course they have scenes together in it too.
There's one scene where Jonathan Brandis dresses up like, I think it's Back in Action, where he's wielding the dual Mac 10s, and it's so ridiculous.
USA, yeah. If you look at that time period, speaking of Chuck Norris, you want to talk about kids movies that were way more popular than like kids now wouldn't even realize how popular they were. Do you remember how big, even though it was his last major theatrical feature, how big Top Dog was?
Yep.
Where it's like, it was Chuck Norris being at his most charismatic, which is saying something, and a dog. You know, the detective movie, like Turner and Hooch did okay, but that was bigger with kids.
Yeah, I remember seeing Turner and Hooch. I had the best double feature. I went with my next door neighbor, Melissa. I thought it was a date. I was wrong. I saw Batman 89 and Turner and Hooch back to back.
Okay.
And then there was another movie I want to say I saw with Kathleen Turner, but I can't remember what the hell it was.
Was it Serial Mom?
Maybe. I know it was like a triple feature some night.
It could have been, it would have been like V.I. Wachowski, or she did a cop movie in the late 80s.
Yeah, I think it was V.I. Wachowski. Which, by the way, those old school Coke machines you just saw in the background here, my old high school used to have one of those.
Look
Vintage ketchup.
Vintage ketchup in the glass bottle that's large.
Yep. Which is rare. You can only get those from supply store, or you used to be able to.
Here we go.
They changed him. That's right. It was Ernest Saves Christmas where they changed Eddie.
No, wait. This is the right...
Yeah, the fat guy's the same, but his sidekick's
different. There's no Bobby.
Yeah, there's no Bobby.
Or is he somebody else in this movie?
Different character, same shtick.
Oh wait, he's in jail, Christmas. It was Christmas, jail,
and Scared Stupid.
Scared Stupid. They changed.
It was the actor, but he looked so alike. I think
the heavier guy was a different actor for that one. But then they all returned for the next one. Was it one more?
Actually, no. The fat guy stayed the same. It's the older guy changed, and I didn't know.
Bobby changed?
Yeah, which again, I'm about 80% sure that I'm right on that fact.
I thought that Bobby skipped one, then came back.
The reason they kept him is because he could do the eye thing.
Oh yeah,
which the older guy couldn't.
Oh, all right, that's it.
Yeah, that's a piece of shit thing to do to a little kid, and I never obviously, this movie, and this is maybe me looking a little too far into it, but looking at the sense of right and wrong, and that's something I think kids' movies, did well in some ways from the 80s to the 90s. You got a lot of morals, and sure, they were a little goofy like this, like, obviously, you trip a kid, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. But I never saw where the divisions were quite so clear. Like, doing the right thing, protecting the weak, standing up.
How is it there's no other counselors in there?
I love this effect. I wonder if this is where Jason got the idea.
He's going to smack him out of it. 50 cents for the Coke.
Those machines are fucking heavy. I have had one almost fall on me.
I still love how stupid, like there's logic leaps in Goes to Jail, but with the flying around and stuff. But how it ends is he flies into space, blows up, and lands just. But all you hear is, he's in such pain while he falls. I came, I saw, I got blowed up, and it ends with the Porky Pig ending, like with the Looney Tunes closing. I'm like, you know what? It's so silly. It's like, why'd you do it? And I listened to the commentary, and the response is, why'd you do that? He goes, because we thought it was funny at the time. Like they just flew by the seat of their pants in those first 4 films.
See, that's what I love. Like, filmmaking that feels very spontaneous, but feels very genuine and heartfelt.
This one feels a little more serious and a little more, like, again, a lot more moving cameras, a lot more cinematography work done here. And it's probably because being their first big picture, like they had made that with Doc Otto's whatever weird like independent film.
Yeah.
But the fact that they got a deal to go to theaters, they probably went more by the book on this and did less experimenting.
Well, probably because the studio is like, we're giving you millions of dollars. Please don't fuck this up. And I totally get that. And
then this was immensely successful. And I think the Christmas one broke 100 million.
It did a lot of good business.
And like I don't know if it was in the initial run, but I know it's the most successful.
I don't even know if it gets rerun anywhere. Looking at it makes me so sick.
Does it make you think of that Gong show where they were
It does. Well,
spitting banana in each other's mouths?
It's the texture.
I'm sorry. Hopefully he doesn't barf. You might want to look away, Michael.
I love the eye thing. I'm sorry.
like a little. Is that a rabbit over there? With all of its sauce. You know what? For all the old things we've seen here, what's probably most funny is that ice machine probably still works and it's probably still in use.
Oh, those things are tanks.
A lot of those they installed in the late 60s, early 70s after they switched from the rounded design.
Now,
and they're still working.
I've got a story. 2 very short ones.
Did you hide a kid in one of them?
No, but one was scumbag move of the year.
Uh-oh.
And another one was...
Did you take a dump and then throw the dump in it?
No, but more often than not, they didn't ask you if you paid for ice. I'll just say that.
Oh.
And then the other one was, if it's a really hot day and in the middle of the night, just open the door and sit in there for a few minutes. And it was really comfortable.
Oh, God.
Because we had one in Shelburne, where I used to live.
I'm sorry, but why do all my ice smell like ass?
It was really comfortable.
Why
Obviously, I wore pants. I wore jeans.
They like put ice against their face to cool off, and they're like, "Why did my ice give me pink eye?" You're blasting foul air over.
Oh, reckless endangerment of children.
He would be the first one to get stabbed.
Yeah. If this was Jason, vengeance is his. Good, kick his ass. Being able to swim, or not being able to swim, is no fucking joke.
Especially in a lake.
Like, you can drown so fast. That's another thing, too. Varney's smile genuinely disarms you. See you later, shitheel. In the director's cut, he dies.
Newsflash, that wasn't in there, and he lost that leg.
Yeah, he's now an amputee.
It was pinched between the chair and the dock, and it cut off the vein.
Squirrel.
I see this guy, and all I can think of is sweep the leg.
Cobra Kai counselors.
They're gonna put him in a body bag. You know when I see him, what I think of?
What?
I think they couldn't afford to get Ned Beatty.
What's he from?
Deliverance.
Oh. Didn't he just pass away recently?
Probably.
Because I remember hearing that name recently.
You know actually what he looks like? This guy looks like Ned Beatty had a love child with Dr. Gonzo. Just a little bit. So it's the class of misfits and that there were, like you said, there were a lot of ones like this, like kids at camp or kids in discipline, like Major Payne.
Yep.
You had Camp Nowhere. What was the other? Was Camp Nowhere the one that had all this? We saw that it had.
There was one with Daniel Stern, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was a camping one too.
Now, is Camp Nowhere? I'm trying to. Was it that or was it Heavyweights with Riker in it? I think
Might have been Heavyweights.
It might be Camp Nowhere, or then there was Jungle to Jungle.
Yep, which I saw in theaters. That I actually did take a girl to.
And
her name was Tanya.
What other 90s camp movies were there? I'll have to look it up because there was a fair bit from like 90 to 96.
Yeah, there was always this theme of kids doing their own thing. Bushwhacked, that's what I'm thinking of, with like Daniel Stern.
In addition to Top Dog, there was all these like washed up actors that were starting to do that. Like, I could do a kids movie and make a lot of money. Remember Cop and a Half?
Yep, with Burt Reynolds. Saw
that
in theaters.
And the other one was Cops and Robertsons.
Yep, saw that.
That was
too.
Chevy Chase and Jack Palance. And did it have Jonathan Taylor Thomas in that one too?
Maybe? I can't remember who that was.
Because there was a while where Jonathan Taylor Thomas was basically the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. He was doing a ton of these kids' movies.
There's another one, and I don't know why I want to see it, but I remember it so vividly from the advertising campaign. I think it was called The Red Panda Adventure, or The Panda Adventure. It's where some kids go to China.
Oh, look, it's the guy that plays the evil lawyer in
everything.
I'm pretty sure he was an evil lawyer in at least one Chuck Norris movie. I'm pretty sure he's the evil lawyer in about 2 or 3 Seagal movies. And we're talking back when Seagal could move.
Yeah.
And didn't have to be shot from the front or behind because they didn't want to see how thick he was.
Which, as of this recording, last week tonight showed a really bizarre clip.
Oh, is it the
of
carrot?
the Steven Seagal carrot thing.
Yeah, because he's basically a bought-off Russian celebrity now.
Which is so weird. Of all the people in all the world. John Vernon.
Here we go. You would know him from Animal House.
Yep.
I would know him from Acapulco Heat, the 90s TV show.
Oh my God.
With Fabio and a million other stars in it.
But that's not the Wolf Larson one, is it?
No. The Wolf Larson show is L.A. Heat.
So, very similar names.
Yes, which is that is the better Lethal Weapon TV show compared to the actual Lethal Weapon TV show. Because they even say we're getting too old for this shit, and it's got Mr. X, Stephen Williams, as his partner.
Yep.
And he did that show right after 2 or 3 years on Tarzan, or Canadian Tarzan. Tarzan with a weird accent on it that doesn't make sense. He set his pants on fire.
Oh my God, on his leg, no less.
I think this is the film where Ernest is the most competent. Like he actually,
scared stupid. He's pretty smart and scared.
No, but
stupid.
you know what I mean. Like he actually knows things. He doesn't
very bad at doing.
He doesn't think before he makes mistakes, but he's actually knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess in the other films, what's brought through is in his Rube Goldberg style crazy inventions that were a copy of Back to the Future.
You know what would have been an interesting crossover film that never happened? Can you picture Ernest working together with like Pee Wee Herman?
Yeah.
But before Pee Wee's controversy in the 90s.
It might have been too much hamming it up between them, or same with what was the Ed Grimley, the character from
Martin Short? Yeah.
It might have been a little too much. He would have gone better. Trying to think, kids actor / oh God. He could have done a funny kids movie with a straight man like Burt Reynolds.
There's a movie where it's Sam Jackson and Eugene Levy.
Oh, The Man?
Yeah, The Man. I would like to have seen Ernest playoffs like a Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy as like the serious Levy character where he's like embarrassed by things. Yeah, it would probably turn out a lot like Armed and Dangerous, the movie, the only other movie he ever starred in where he did top billing, him and John Candy.
Yep.
Actually, he would have done great in a John Candy movie. Like if they had a one together. Oh no, him and Dan Aykroyd.
Yep,
would have been a good match
that.
for Aykroyd's like seriousness.
Do you think he could have played off a character or an actor like, say, Martin Lawrence? Because he did a movie in the 90s where he played a very energetic character, and he was like a bank robber or something.
Eddie Murphy, maybe.
At least nobody was hurt. God, I love that.
Yeah. This guy here that plays the evil lawyer.
Yeah.
Whenever I see him in a movie, I'm like, oh, he's like the evil version of Ted's father on Bill and Ted.
Yeah, pretty much, actually.
Which I was so glad they got him to come back to play the dad in the new movie. The actor on the right, the Native American actor,
I think that's Cody Iron Eyes.
is he the? Okay,
I think this was his last movie.
I hope I'm not saying something wrong, but is he the guy that did the commercials?
The Lakota ones?
Yeah.
He looks very familiar.
Like the ones that the cough drop one where they made it and it would like the funds from it went to their people or something.
Or something like that, yeah.
I don't think he's the guy from the crying on like the garbage commercials.
I don't think so.
But I'm fairly sure he's the Lakota guy. He would talk to the camera and everything.
Yeah. I think this is actually remarkably topical when they talk about companies wanting to develop on native land, because one of the big issues in Canada and in the US was something called the Trans Mountain Pipeline, where they want to build an oil pipeline or energy pipeline.
Which got canceled hard. And then there are protests across the US where companies are moving in and doing stuff on land. And it's a very big issue, and it doesn't get so much attention until tear gas gets fired. Now here it's obviously, I don't like you, we disagree with you, I'm going to leave now, and then obviously the bad guys get more creative. But yeah, that if you're ever curious about native issues like that, yeah, stuff like this does happen. Oh, holy shit. Speaking of 90s/80s camping camp stuff, how about Camp Caribou?
Yep.
From local CTV Productions and CKCO.
And the weather guy was like a main lead character on it.
Oh yeah, Mark. He became like, was it on CBC National or
something like? I know he got fairly big. It's funny how much Canadian productions, how it's very, I wouldn't say quickly to rise up, but if you're really competent, you can really move up through the ranks.
Well, even in news, like you don't realize that sometimes it takes 40 years till an anchor becomes a lead anchor somewhere. But then you got somebody like Gord Martineau started, and within like 3 years of his television career, he was like lead anchor at City TV.
I think Peter Mansbridge came up really fast.
He was only in his early 30s too.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I love about this too, is just the fact that this is over the top, goofy as shit.
Yeah.
Lost.
My God. Look, a bag of peanuts up there. They wouldn't have that at camp anymore with all the allergies.
Yep. Nope.
Those peanuts are there so they can make their own peanut oil. You can tell. Oh my God. It's like they're making trifle.
Dead.
You know what the guy playing the not Bobby character looks like? It reminds me of? Speaking of like camping TV shows.
Yeah.
Red Green Show.
Harold, yeah. He was going to be my acting coach. I took an acting class years ago.
Is that the
Patrick McKenna?
Yeah,
and he was one of the instructors.
He is one of the unsung hilarious heroes of Canadian TV.
Yes, and he can play a serious role too. He did a show, I think it was called Traders, and he was really good.
Yeah,
on that.
yeah, playing a Bay Street trader. Mm-hmm. But also he, from a few of the episodes, I think he did 3 or 4 episodes of Stargate. as one of the other guys. Like
that's cool.
And he has a secret crush on Samantha Carter, and he will daydream, and he'll be talking. And it'll look like it's a completely normal thing, and he's working on something. She'll come over, and then she smells his neck, and they start making out. And she walks in the room, and he's like, it'll be that he fell asleep, and he plays basically that same sort of nervous character. Hilarious.
I would love if he's got his P9, he's shooting down a Guald.
Well, no, that was the idea. Jesus.
This scene made me terrified of those lanterns.
It's just like how I couldn't go into basements for a while after Home Alone because I was terrified of the furnace. But I actually watched a couple clips of that recently, and I still laugh. Stepping on the nail, just the delayed scream of in real life. If you've ever stepped on a nail like that or a piece of glass, there's about 2 or 3 seconds before you actually scream where your brain is going, "Oh my god!"
You're like, trauma, and then you scream.
That and Joe Pesci getting shot in the nuts with the bird shot. He gets shot in the nuts, and it's just the ooh!
When he gets his head set on fire. Ooh!
Yeah.
It's funny. I've only ever heard that sound from one other man in my entire life. So, my father-in-law David, before he passed away.
Did he sit on his nuts?
No, he was picking me up to go visit Blair. This was when I still lived in Hamilton, and we were crossing a railroad track, and he had a Tim Hortons coffee, and he had it rested on his leg, and we crossed the train tracks, and the coffee spilled on his nuts, and he was like, "Woo!"
Yeah, there's a pitch of noise that you normally can't make voluntarily that happens when you have extreme testicular trauma.
And Ernest never did that.
Because for anybody, for girls who are like, what do you mean? The sensitivity of it?
It hurts.
It's like, what if you were lying asleep and somebody poured hot coffee on your eyelids?
Yeah.
It's like that, only it makes you want to barf at the same time.
I can only imagine. Actually, you know what I would love to get? That guy from YouTube, Mike the Legal Eagle. I'm curious. How legal is this?
It's native land in the States, Michael.
Actually, I don't know whether these guys... No, this is a white family. I think they're just buying up land that was surrounding the camp.
I love how they have different accents for everybody in town.
Yep. It's a multicultural or environment.
As soon as he punched him in the gut, she should have picked up the gun and blew his head off.
Say, it's America. It wouldn't surprise me.
The only thing missing here is that goon should have been one of two people. Should have been Tex Cobb, who plays...
Jaws?
No, he's the guy that plays Lyle, his cellmate. The big guy with the...
Oh, yeah. That would have been great casting.
Because he was in other movies, too, and he was a real boxer. It could have been him, since he was already in one of these movies. Or I would have also... I would have accepted him, Tex Cobb, or the big guy that's slightly cross-eyed from Bloodsport. The one that plays this friend.
Oh, yeah.
That gets almost clobbered.
I would have taken Jaws from James Bond.
Or Richard Kiel?
Yeah. Can you just picture that big dude? And just for a scene as an Easter egg, have him smile. And be like, "Why do you work here? My other boss fired me."
But he was so lanky, he wasn't thick enough, you know what I mean? He wouldn't have been intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
I would have taken dude from Night Court.
Oh, Bull. Richard something.
Mull.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would have been the right time period.
You know what's amazing? How many of that cast has passed away in the last couple of years?
Well, they were a little older than the average. They were late 30s to late 40s when the show aired.
Oh, God, that's horrifying.
So they had to make it really silly because it was terrifying. Also,
it falls over.
Gotta love the terrible terrible lawn chairs from before the camping chairs came out.
Yep, my parents had a bunch of those on our back deck.
And the torn up shirts because they all look cool.
Yeah,
for the
shirts
kid.
that have no sides. What is the point?
It's some side boob action, except these are children. So
And those weird children's trucker hats.
Oh God, yeah.
Those are so uncomfortable.
Why does everybody have ill-fitting clothes in this movie? The only person that seems to be wearing comfortable clothing is Ernest. Look, he's so relaxed. That looks fine. It's also weird seeing his jean jacket seems a little like newer than I bet you he wore the same one in multiple movies.
Oh yeah, like I can only imagine. Actually, I wonder whatever happened to the Ernest costume. I'd hope it's in a museum somewhere.
When I see camps, all I think of is, let's do the caribou boogie. Camp Cariboogie.
That part, I want to know what he's reading. Show me the cover.
It's probably supposed to be a nudie
Marvel
magazine.
Oh, yeah. It could
Remember,
be a nudie mag.
they're the delinquent
Nope.
kids. Oh, no, he's reading a comic book.
That might be Spider-Man, but I can't tell.
And knowing the time period, the kid wearing the oversized military jacket, it's clearly supposed to be like his older brother or his like uncle's nom jacket.
Yeah. And he's just casually wielding a switchblade.
Every kid in this group looks like they should be singing the Neverending Story song. They look like that Limal guy that sang it.
That's another movie that I think could use a reboot.
Chubby kid with the jersey looks a fair bit like Jason Bateman.
Yep.
Also, is he the only black kid at the camp?
That's the only one I've seen. Yeah, because it's funny how all the ethnic kids get stuck with Ernest.
Yeah,
because they're considered troublemakers.
Yeah, how much you want to bet Switchblade Boy is either Hispanic or Italian?
I think he's supposed to be. Yeah, his name is Vargas, so yeah.
Yeah.
And this is something else that I like too. It's clearly Ernest has an interest in this woman.
Yes.
She's not white. And it's just accepted. He just accepts her spirituality, her grandfather.
Ernest gets along with everybody.
Yeah, and that's what I like. Like, that's something I think a lot of children's movies in particular really, when they're done well, teach tolerance at a new level. And it doesn't have to be up in your face. Like you just said it. He just accepts everybody.
Fire ants.
Gotta get another shot.
Oh, Poison Ivy. Actually, you know, one of the kids, like the one in the front here walking in with the green shirt and the vest on, he looks a lot like the brother on Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
But it's not
Dewey
him.
Or whatever?
No,
or the older brother.
The older brother, the middle kid. The one that's older than Malcolm.
Francis.
But this is like almost 10 years too early to have been him. I don't understand what kids thought would be cool to wear shirts that looked like they were doll clothes because they cut off the midriff.
Yeah, I never understood the midriff guy shirt. And I think it's making a comeback. At least in certain communities. Some of them, I don't know. There were some weird ones in the 80s that looked kind of cool. But obviously, I've always been a fat kid, could never pull it off. You know what I never understood about 80s fashion? Short shorts. Never got that.
Well, yeah. Just a joke, says the fat boy.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
You should
that guy's
know better.
The most nice guy to you.
It's like have you not figured out that you're probably getting picked on, and now you're going to be picking on somebody who's actually nice to you?
Yeah, like pick and choose your battles, man. Is that kid carrying the knife now?
Probably.
See if there's anything interesting. Oh, there's a girl poster. Looking for anything. Okay, there's a weird monkey head.
It looks like is that him dressed up as his grandma in the background?
No, I don't know.
Are you sure that's not Jim Varney just dressed
Oh,
up?
that might be actually.
San Francisco Docks, Sterling,
Oklahoma.
Meredith.
Aw. Better wash your hands. Salmonella.
I wonder, is he from Oklahoma? Maybe that's why he's got an Okie sign back there.
I don't know. I mean, like, again, there's something about set design. Like, when the art department does stuff like this, they can go have fun and insert sorts of hidden jokes and Easter eggs. Like, there's a rubber chicken in there, for example.
So Varney was from Kentucky. So somebody...
Maybe it's one of the production crew's favorite teams or something?
Yeah, because that looks like a university football flag.
Mm-hmm. Want to hear a weird bit of trivia? I used to collect those, but only for hockey teams, which means they were really hard to find.
Like when mini sticks were a big thing in the early 90s.
Yeah, that might be him as the grandmother, actually.
Did they have to license the song to sing the song?
I think so, yeah. And I love that reoccurring gag of the fucking cart.
It just keeps going.
Yeah, the chief I did find out was Cody Iron Eyes, and I think this was his last movie.
Is he the Lakota guy?
I'm going to check right now. So he... No, wait. Yeah, this was his last movie. He died in 99 at 94.
Because I seem to think, like, I know I might be drawing...
No, he was the crying Indian from the Keep America Beautiful.
So he was the guy that was the cry. He was either the Lakota guy, which maybe the Lakota guy is Canadian. But yeah, that makes sense. So he's the garbage guy where like they threw out the trash at the side of the road and he has the tear.
Yeah, and he also has a star, or sorry, he's on the hockey. He's in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Because in 1983.
Well, he's one of those guys that they would have cast at a time when they mostly did like Redface.
Yep, this was his last movie in 1987.
Right,
and his last television role was 1986.
Because most natives in movies were always just white dudes in makeup, right?
Or they were different races but weren't First Nations, like Wes Studi. I don't think what is he?
He's probably native because his movies show up on APTN.
I don't know. I'm actually going to look that up. I don't want to be wrong.
Or they would, like sometimes they would throw in like an Italian that like, how many wrestlers?
Yeah, he's Cherokee. That's right.
Like there's like, what was the guy's name? Like when you see like wrestlers that wrestled as like Native Americans, half of them were Italians. They just looked native enough. So they would get that gimmick and it's like, what do the native people think? And it's like, depending on where they went, I didn't think it mattered as long as in their mind it looked like they were being represented.
Yeah.
Until you find out years later and they're like, you motherfuckers. You could have just had a native wrestler, but instead you put an Italian with a headdress on and said he was native.
Speaking of Wes Studi, first movie I ever saw him in was Street Fighter, and Sagat is supposed to be a Thai warlord. I'm pretty sure First Nations people don't look like Thai people. But he looked the part. He looked like Sagat.
First Nations people can look like Mongolians.
It's true. In fact...
Because of the ice bridge, right?
Yeah. When I first got on the internet, years upon years ago, I had a number of people ask me if I was Chinese. Or Mongolian descent.
Yeah, like northern, like, Asia.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I'm First Nations. Like, oh, I didn't know. And I'm just thinking, I've never really thought of it like that. I've also been mistaken for Brazilian before.
I can see that. Well, also, because you are a rotund person, it can hide certain facial features. Like you have higher cheekbones.
Yep.
That would normally go, oh, native dude.
Yep.
But when you're heavier, it's not as noticeable because you fill your face out a little more.
I've been asked if I'm Samoan.
Yeah, you
and
could,
Hawaiian.
You could pass as Polynesian, Pacific Islander.
Yep. The big goon guy looks like a more in-shape version of, like, Kane Hodder.
Yeah.
I'm John Vernon. I have a gun.
We couldn't afford Gene Hackman, so we got John Vernon.
I want to see what else I know John Vernon from. 'Cause I know Animal House because he's like the dean or something. He's Canadian. He died in 2005. Wow.
He gets thrown into the same pile with the actors that had similar...
Batman. He's Falcone. That's where I know the voice. He's the crime lord guy.
Yeah. Not in the
movies.
In the modern movies, it was Eric Roberts.
Yes.
What are you doing? That fall won't kill me. I'm counting on it. And he breaks both his legs. It's like, God damn. I'm counting on it. And the look at his face of terror when he's like, oh, fuck, he's going to drop me anyway. He would have been great at camp.
Oh my God. He would have been so much. You know, I can only imagine how much fun you might have had on the set with him.
Except for the fact that he smoked 2 or 3 packs of cigarettes a day when it smelled like a feet. Well, that's what did him in, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think this is the first time I heard of the Hook legend, sort of thing like that. And I remember vaguely as a child people telling it, and I wonder if it was traced to this.
Has she done other work? I don't remember seeing her in much.
Victoria, no, I don't think so. Her Wikipedia doesn't come up with anything.
Because the love interest in Goes to Jail, didn't she end up playing April O'Neil in one of the Turtles movies?
There was Paige something or other. Was I think the first one?
Was she in the first and third, or there's a different one in the second?
Yeah, if it was the second one, maybe. What? She's dead.
Well, I mean, she could have been old.
Yeah, she died. November 20. She was 69. Yeah, she died last year.
Is it bad that when you said 69, I was ready to go, nice?
Oh boy.
It's just, it's bred into me. You got to say it, even if it's like, oh no. So she was in her late 30s here.
Yeah. Yeah, evidently she was known for the 1979 horror sci-fi movie called Prophecy.
Okay.
Velocity, Mountain Men, Ernest Goes to Camp, Kung Fu, Hawaii Five-0, Doogie Howser, Dr. Quinn.
Their shit burned down.
The White Kids, of course. He's like, you've got knives? You're good to go.
This one kid just goes, one moment, please, and he just pulls out a gun. They're like, where'd you have the gun? Oh, they're so tough, they have Tears for Fears posters.
Oh, please, don't rule the world.
Uh-oh.
As the fight gets brutal, they start playing Mad World, and it goes in the slow motion as they're stabbing them.
It's all these kids punching each other, and then off in the one corner, you just see splatters of blood as one kid is just stabbing like 5 or 6 kids in the head. Just like
pulls out the knife.
He's pulling out the knife. And like all these kids are punching, and then one kid's like, "What's that on my face?" And he looks to the right, and there's Timmy just, and he's like sticking it in the guy's head, and then having to use a hammer to smash it in farther. Like,
yeah,
it's all like John Wick.
This movie's actually a secret crossover of fucking Sleepaway Camp. Angela meets Ernest. Oh god!
And all you hear is the kid in the background going, "Stab and twist, stab and twist, stab and twist." Oh. Oh. They didn't do later films.
Nope.
It was missing the
Yeah, that's all it needed to be more cartoonishly ridiculous.
Could have been worse.
Could have been a lot worse.
He could have made buck teeth when he was doing it.
Or they could have made like other sound effects or something. Yeah. Which it's kind of weird to see just how children's media got away with the caricatures of stuff like that.
It wasn't viewed as offensive by anybody at the time. You know, public consciousness changes. I'm willing to even bet that a lot of like Asian Americans that watched it didn't even think twice. They were like, funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they wouldn't have thought anything of it. But
it's kind of like that one character from 16 Candles, Long Duck Dong?
Yeah.
Which is obviously yikes.
I mean, it's not like Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's where he's like, oh, hurrah! And it's like really, really over the top. Where even at the time it was a little bit much, but they got away with it because they're like, oh, it's funny. He's playing a Chinese man. It's like, yeah. It's like you could have just cast a Japanese actor in that role, but it's more funny if it's a white guy doing it.
Yeah.
See, it's from a distance, it's not Gene Hackman.
Which, evidently, he's still alive.
Yeah, Alzheimer's.
He's just hanging out. Actually, not as bad as you might think. He lives in Arizona.
Well, he was found wandering a few times.
Oh, I heard he was just out riding his bicycle.
He was out wandering the streets and naked with just the bathrobe on and didn't remember how to get home.
Oh, I never heard that.
Yeah, so and that was about 10 years ago. So,
okay.
I mean, he's not done anything in almost 20 years.
Well, he retired after Welcome to Mooseport.
Welcome to Mooseport and Runaway.
And I think he writes books.
Yeah, that's what keeps his mind going. But that can be bouts and spits and spurts. People were afraid Jack Nicholson was the same, but apparently he's just like, unless there's a role he really wants to do.
Yeah, he just does his own thing.
He does have one he wants to do, but basically he did The Departed and Anger Management, and
then he did that movie on Netflix with Scorsese.
No,
didn't he? Oh, okay. I haven't seen it.
He's coming back for something though, but that's it.
And he goes to Lakers games, and he goes
probably and
just hangs out.
Yeah,
but you're Jack Nicholson. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, the longer he goes without a role, the longer it's going to make it. Maybe he's afraid to do it, but give him the right role. I mean, Joe Pesci came back after 20 years.
Yep.
Like he did, what was it? He did the Gone Fishing and something else in like 98. And then
I saw that.
And then after 98, he really didn't, he did like one role in 20 years. I am the evil man. What other movies did Jim Varney do?
Beverly Hillbillies, as you mentioned.
Something called Fast Food in 1989.
Never heard of it. He had his own TV show.
Wilder Napalm. I've heard that.
I think that was a serious movie he did before he passed away.
The Expert. Toy Story. Snowboard Academy. 100 Proof. Oh yeah, Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain. He's the bad guy with Hulk Hogan. Yeah.
Wow, I've never seen that one.
Atlantis: The Lost Empire as one of the voices.
Oh.
It came out after he died.
And I think for Toy Story, I think for Toy Story 4 they had enough voice samples to recreate his voice for Slinky.
Yeah, one of the last things he recorded was his voice for The Simpsons. Oh my god. Fast Food looks ridiculous. It's got Tracy Lords in it. Porn star.
Oh boy.
I guess it was one of her first legit movies after they found out that she was underage.
Yeah.
But she was great in
Blade. Yeah.
Zachamiri, she plays Bubbles. Wilder Napalm. Fantasy romantic comedy. Dennis Quaid. Oh, so he's an extra. He's not a main character in that one. The Expert is a movie he's in with Jeff Speakman. Is he the bad guy?
Jeff Speakman's the karate guy from Best of the Best, right?
Yes. No. Best of the Best is Eric Roberts. Jeff Speakman is...
Oh, I'm thinking of The Perfect Weapon.
Yes.
Which I love that movie with Professor Tanaka.
Right after he did... This is the movie he did right after. Jeff Speakman, James Brolin, and Jim Varney. We might have to track this down.
So, Thanos, a martial arts guy, and Ernest.
Thanos' dad.
Oh, okay.
And Snowboard Academy. Bridget Nielsen, Corey Haim, Joe Flaherty, and Jim Varney. That's my kind of terrible from 1987.
That's an amazing cast.
It's got Count Floyd in it. That's who I was thinking of. It's Count Floyd. He should do... With Joe Flaherty, should do something with Elvira. Monster Chiller Horror Theater. Ooh, we got a very scary movie for you tonight. What cabin has, like, a full-on fireplace in it? Like, usually
just the ones from Friday the 13th?
I was going to say, like, the camps that I went to, the main cabin had that, but that was it. Oh, but those are like prison bunks. Ours are made out of wood. Iron Maiden.
I'm about to say, yeah, that's a metal poster. Tears for Fears, Iron Maiden. Look at my tight jeans.
Looking up a list of summer camp movies from the 80s and 90s because you wanted to know.
I think that would be fun.
Heavyweights, obviously. The Parent Trap, I don't remember actually seeing.
I saw that with Blair last year, and it was actually okay.
Addams Family Values.
Yes. Especially when Wednesday Addams burns the pilgrims.
It Takes Two, but I don't count the Mary-Kate and Ashley movies.
No.
Babysitter's Club. I never saw that.
I saw that. Very Ivan Drago.
This kind of reminds me of...
like wrestling?
No, Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, when he's going to go fight the strongest warrior.
Yeah.
And it's the big tall dude. And then he sits down, opens up a backpack, and Tommy Davidson comes out of it. And he's like, this is your fiercest warrior? And he laughs at him, and then gets stabbed with a spear in the leg, and he starts screaming.
He's like, ah!
And then the other like, it's in the bone. It's in the bone. He's screaming. He basically repeated that in Me, Myself, and Irene when he's at the end of the film. He's like holding up his hand to try to de-escalate a situation, and the guy shoots his thumb off, and he just screams, and he goes, "Where's my thumb?" And he starts hopping around, and he's crying. It's so good.
You think the kids had cut him a little slack? He just had the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
But then again, it's actually kind of amazing. The only sympathetic kid is Moose.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess Meatballs is probably the biggest franchise that happens at camps.
Outside of Friday the 13th.
And Camp Nowhere was big. Camp Stories. No, that doesn't count. I guess it's basically Ernest and Camp Nowhere are probably the two big kids camp movies from that time period.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of baseball movies, though.
Yeah,
like
there was a lot of
The
kids
Rookie.
Mighty Ducks.
Rookie of the Year, Mighty Ducks.
Ladybugs.
Sandlot.
I'm trying to think if there were any sports.
Didn't they do a Bad News Bears remake at that point? Maybe
yes. Yes, or I think Bad News Bears was about mid-90s,
It was
maybe
a
up
late
to the
70s
2000s.
movie, but then they did another one.
Yep, I saw that. I think there was a basketball one.
Well, Flubber.
Flubber, yeah.
He can act when he wants to.
Yeah, like there's something very genuine about who he is. And it comes through in almost every performance that he wants to. And obviously this is your one chance to impress the studios.
Like, even when the Ernest movies weren't doing great,
He still tried.
He still got that role. Beverly Hillbillies
94?
was a pretty big project that they let him do. I mean, it made sense because it was right at the same time that we were getting the Flintstones movie and all this stuff.
And the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, that was the 60s and 70s reunion movies or remakes were coming back.
What do you think will be the next big round of things?
We've already seen it on TV.
Yeah, Friends, Fresh Prince, but those are reunions.
No, it's like the Wonder Years and all these ones. Which the problem with how they market them is they're so blatantly saying, hey, it's the same thing you know and love, but now we've either gender flipped it or we've race flipped it. And it's like, that's one thing. But they're hyper fixated on that one element. And that tends to fail. Like when the Honeymooners had the Cedric the Entertainer movie, it tanked. And it's like, why? Because whether or not it was going to be a funny movie, all they kept saying was, hey, it's black honeymooners.
One of the things I'm very curious about the Wonder Years because of the time period, and it is race flip. That's what's got my attention. But I'm also I love Don Cheadle because he's the narrator.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether it'll succeed. So I guess we'll wait and see in hopefully a couple months.
Oh, no, I think it starts in a week or two.
Yeah, it starts I just hope it has the ratings to sustain itself.
Oh, yeah, no. I always try to go in with an open mind because the new version of The Equalizer was a gender flip show.
With Queen Latifah?
Yeah, and it's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, that show's pretty cool.
Whereas the Lethal Weapon show was terrible. And the MacGyver show was terrible. And the really low-budget, terrible Walker, Texas Ranger show is terrible. There's very few that are good. Hawaii Five-0 was better than the original show.
You know what I'd like to see come back? It will never happen. I want Airwolf to come back.
Yeah.
Because I think with all the modern kind of military stuff, it could be really interesting. I want an adventure show again. Like, we actually, if you're listening to this in proper sequential order, we'll say, from broadcast date, we talked about the live action She-Ra, and I'd love to see that as the new adventure show. But I want to see, and I'm going to kind of use this as an example. When I look at Ernest, a kid's comedy show or a kid's comedy series of movies, and the only group that ever takes a risk on it, truly, is Nickelodeon. And the closest I think they've come into sort of that feel-good, accessible comedy was one I don't think you liked, but I really liked it. It was called Playing with Fire with John Cena, Tyler Mane, and Jordan Peele.
I don't like it when every adult
is an idiot.
It isn't realistic. In here, you've got one character who's over the top goofy, and all the other adults behave like they would in a regular movie.
Yeah, like
I don't
the
like
nurse.
Why is it that everybody has to be a goofball and talk like they wouldn't really talk?
Yeah.
Like, if she was talking like Ernest, would you be taking her serious?
No. But I don't know. Like, I can't think of a kid's franchise that isn't action-oriented, like The Maze Runner or...
Weren't there a bunch of, like, Disney movies with, like, Zack and Cody?
I think there were one or two. The Kim Possible series, I think, had potential. It was really well cast. But the problem is it was a Disney Channel thing, and it didn't get any big budget behind it. Patton Oswalt played one of the bad guys.
Wait, I'm stupid. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Weren't there 3 or 4 of those movies?
Yeah, but do you ever hear anybody talk about them?
Yeah, but we're not little kids.
But I think the thing is, there's always that cross success where you find a movie that crosses generations, and people want to say, I want to see that.
Maybe the new Goosebumps movies?
Yeah, that's probably pretty close.
Are You Afraid of the Dark's back? Isn't there a new season coming out soon?
It's already out. Season 2 just came out on DVD, which we'll have a review of that probably in the next week or so. Yeah, I would say that's a pretty good one.
The new
I think in terms of
the new Hardy Boys show on YTV is really good.
I think Nancy Drew's pretty good too. Actually, there was a Nancy Drew movie from the last couple years that was really good.
Not the one with Emma Roberts.
I don't remember.
That's
I think it's called. I think it was called the Hidden Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase or something.
Oh yeah, and then
I liked it.
They made that, and then there's the new CW show. I have no idea if that's any good, but it's like Supernatural.
Yeah.
You know what it is? There's not a ton of kids live action movies that are series like this because they're afraid of spending money, so they make it all animated.
By the way, this montage scene, one of my favorite in movies.
This sounds a lot like the one that they used for No Retreat, No Surrender, but that probably a lot less homoerotic. Where the kid is like working out, doing like push-ups and pull-ups with another man sitting on his crotch.
What movie is that from again?
No Retreat, No Surrender.
Is that the Van Damme?
Van Damme's first movie. But this has a very similar sounding song.
Very Stan Bushy.
Stan Bush mixed with... I'm trying to figure out who it sounds like.
A ballista?
I'm trying to figure out that voice.
I don't know. We'll have to look it up afterwards. Now, these kids have just built weapons of war, and this could not end well for the other dudes if they want. Also, they are remarkably fast workers.
I miss when movies had songs specifically written for their montages.
Yes.
And their openings. Like, did you know that there's a Strange Brew theme song?
I did know that, actually.
Yes. Did you know... I'm trying to think what else had it. Pretty much every movie from 1975 to 1998 had a song written for it.
A lot of the Stan Bush stuff, like, I think it's for Kickboxer or Bloodsport. The song's called Streets of Siam, and I really like that one.
Oh, that's Kickboxer. Oh, Streets of Siam?
Yeah.
That's the Kickboxer one.
Yeah, and it's really good. And there's something... South Park did a spoof on it, and I want to say the early 2000s, where they go to the ski place. What the fuck's it called? Not Alpine or...
Aspen?
Aspen, yeah. And it's gonna be a montage. I love that.
Yeah.
And obviously it's spoofing shit like this. But you're right. There's something... When it's done right, it can be really good. I was actually thinking about this over the last year. Other than, like...
So, their solution is to murder.
Yep.
To murder the adults.
Also, why would a company, this Crater construction crew, why would they have smoke bombs? Explosives I get. Maybe to mark a target, I guess?
Scare animals away.
Yeah. I can see that.
Scare the bears.
And this, they have straight up missiles and rockets and arrows. And potentially a bioweapon. And potentially... So shrapnel. They're firing grape shot at you.
Kid in the middle there has been in other shit, and I don't know what. He did a lot of kids' movies, I think.
I also love how loud all of his clothing is.
She's like, what are you doing? It's like, we're going to war.
Yeah, you're going to do what?
Brother, you can't send these children to murder the adults. It'd be like, what? They're white kids. They're not going to get in big trouble. Is that the message they're trying to give? Pretty sure Hispanic dude's going to get in shit, though.
They're not going to... This camp. I love that.
He even pulls the mean counselors in.
Yeah.
One guy's got... Ooh, he got a Jay Leno chin.
But that's intensity.
Actually, his jawline looked a bit like the Frankenstein character from Beetleborgs.
Yes.
That kid there with the spiky hair has been in stuff, and the yellow shirt guy. They did a lot of kids' movies, I think, back then.
Well, they've got that classic look to them. Because if you need an ethnic-looking kid...
Uh-oh. Well, was he just flying... Is that a Korean flag? Or was that... It was either the Japan flag or Korean flag, and I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be
Kamikaze?
Yeah. Well, there's the original.
After seeing him do that, I can't help but think of the Reservation Dogs character where the horses falls over.
Oh, yeah. We got to watch more of that.
Great show, by the way, folks. Reservoir Dogs. You'd be surprised how true...
Reservation Dogs.
Reservation Dogs.
So, Taika Waititi produced, but they clearly have a lot of natives like on the staff writing it, because you said it's very close.
It's very true to
even
res
though it's
life.
Oklahoma, it's very close to Canadian res culture. So you said he died like a few years after this?
No, this was his last movie. He died in 99 at 94.
So he's 84 here.
Yeah.
So he just goes, I have had enough of this, and he pulls out a gun and starts killing the kids.
Or he pulls out, like, the bow and is like a sniper.
You know, you can tell it's the late 80s? Because they had a portable battery-powered record player.
Yep. Yeah. Not cassettes, not 8-track, good old
they didn't
records.
even use, not even a boombox they could have easily used, but nope.
Oh, I just realized that's a canoe. I love this full-blown guerrilla warfare with
Not
children.
to mention that synth soundtrack that just started playing right here. I'm fully waiting for Arnold Schwarzenegger and his Running Man team to just run through here. That's like the kind of music they play at the end of that when him and Mick Fleetwood are taking over. Which I love that Mick Fleetwood is playing
Fleetwood
himself with makeup on to make him look like he looks now. And they call him Mick. So
and they say, they took me and my friends. We stopped making music.
Yeah. Literally, Fleetwood Mac is the resistance force in the future. It's so random. And as a kid, you wouldn't understand that. But
that's another movie we should do a commentary for. I love The Running Man.
It's also surprisingly short.
One of his shortest.
And a fair amount of wrestler connections in there. Obviously, Jesse the Body's in there.
That big football guy is the flamethrower dude.
What is it?
Jim Browning or something?
No, I'm thinking the one guy's somebody. No, but the
Buzzsaw?
Professor Tanaka's in it.
Yep, Professor Tanaka.
Who, and I believe is Professor Tanaka, is he also in the first Three Ninjas movie as the main henchman?
Yes, yeah, he's one of the henchmen.
He's the one that they're like, light up the eyes, boys, light up the eyes, and they kick him in the nuts a bunch of times and chop him in the neck. And I'm like, that motherfucker would pick up them kids and crush their skulls with one fist.
I remember seeing a movie he did with Jeff Speakman called The Perfect Weapon.
Yeah. And
he has a razor belt buckle. And he whips it around like a whip. Like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. See what I mean? Missiles! Dead, shrapnel, concussion.
Ooh, they had to use one shot of footage for that, and that was a little blurry. It's getting a little jackassy here.
Hey kids, I'm Ernest. Welcome to Jackass. Know what I mean? Hit him with poop.
Can you imagine Steve-O doing one of these movies? Poo! And he shoots a ball beside him. I'm sad that the movie was pushed back, but it's coming out a week after my birthday. So maybe I'm going to see about maybe getting my brother and my dad together based on what the conditions are like so we can do a birthday trip for me.
That'd be really cool.
Because we took my dad to see the third one, and he wasn't feeling super well that day. Mm-hmm. So he actually had to go to the bathroom and miss the poo rocket the first time. I think it's going to do well in February.
I hope so.
And if you're listening to this after that and did terrible, oh.
We had hope. Paratroopers!
It's like a Camp Krusty helmet he's got on there.
I also love how John Vernon's first solution, murder.
Let's murder a bunch of children.
Yeah. See, that's what... Listen to the lawyer. Sure, you don't get to murder the kid, but you can sue them for all they're worth. This is America.
You know what John Vernon's real name is?
What?
You would have a very hard time reading this name.
Oh, God.
Adolphus Raymondus Vernon Agaposhquix. And he was born in Zaner, Saskatchewan.
Oh, wow. I can see why he got his name changed.
Yeah, there's a reason he needed a Hollywood name. He's in Dirty Harry as the mayor. Bearcats. What else? Brannigan. Airplane 2.
Oh, I just realized there's a bike stuck on the side of that.
I know where you saw him. He was in Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes, that's right. He's the police chief.
I'm Gonna Get You Sucka. Mob Story.
This is so stupid. I love it.
He's General Ross in the Incredible Hulk 90s cartoon, the good one.
Oh, wow.
And then obviously Batman, he's Rupert Thorne.
Because Vernon has that very distinct voice. And I think the woman's name is Romano, who was the voice director for Batman the Animated Series. Brilliant cast.
And a MIDI song, like literally like a MIDI tunes version of the Turtle song. I can't think nobody but you.
And now they've used all their ammo and weapons, so now they've got nothing against... Actually, they could just rush it and punch him in the cockpit.
Best part is they don't even have the paper signed, or did they get paper signed?
They did get the paper signed, but I would like to know if that's legally binding within a second, or
isn't it usually like 3 months to close,
or something stupid.
It brings them exactly what they need.
I think they loaded up with like explosives.
The music here sounds almost like Transformers, you know, like the
Vince DiCola score?
Not the movie, the TV show, the chase scenes.
Yeah. I can see
know,
that.
Whenever they would do, or Cybertron scenes.
Molotov cocktails? Jesus. Coke paid a lot of money to be in this, by the way.
It's a Molotov cocktail?
Oh, shit. I miss glass Coke bottles. There was a store near me growing up, and you could get a 2 liter or a 1.5 liters of Coke in a glass bottle that was this tall. Yeah, 99 cents.
Yeah, now
up until about 94.
Now it's about $4 if you want a 1 liter. If you want to get Mexican Coca-Cola because it's made with cane sugar still.
Yep.
Hi, Dr. Wiley.
Hi, buddy. Are you commentary cat?
Here we go, and
dead.
I'm pretty sure I played this level in Call of Duty.
Yeah. Or I'm pretty sure they pulled this shit in the movie Tremors.
Can you fly, sucker? Can you fly?
Can you fly, Bobby?
Fuck you.
Gives it the 5-knuckle shuffle. Can you see me? Kicks his ass.
I'll give you $20 for this, boys. $20. Backhand.
Fucking Ric Flair chop. I mean, sure, you've saved the cab, but now you've opened ourselves up to legal action. I don't know whether this is a victory.
And this is how everybody there murdered the owners and buried them in the lake, and this is
It's a huge cover up. Ernest goes to court.
Ernest is Jason. Jason walks up and it just doesn't say anything except for in a demon voice. Know what I mean? Over and over again. Know what I mean? Or he just walks around just constantly.
Vern is the voice of Jason's mother.
He just keeps walking around. Yeah, rim shot, here, boy. I don't think he has the dog in this one. I didn't see it once.
No, the dog doesn't show up until Scared Stupid.
No.
He does have another dog, but not Rimshot.
Scared Stupid is the fourth one. Rimshot's in...
Saves Christmas, maybe?
I think he's in Christmas and jail.
Well, his scope's not sighted. Or John Vernon's a bad shot.
Or does he hit him, but...
He's secretly a mutant. He's Magneto and deflecting the bullets.
Oh, it's the whole... He's being protected by the spirits of the Braves.
Which I think is... Sure, it's a little bit of cultural appropriation, but it's really cool, though.
It was also, again, never meant for anything offensive.
Harmful, yeah. This is something I always thought was very empowering as a youth. I always thought this was neat in the regards that I'm not saying my background gives me powers or anything, but I love that ability of belief. And what are you gonna do?
That was he's doing his best De Niro right there. Yeah. That's clear. That's the De Niro
Taxi
face.
driver.
Yeah, that's the De Niro. Could you imagine De Niro playing him as old version of him, and then having Cena play him as young version?
Jesus. Boom. Don't look on his face.
I've seen this on Live Leak. It doesn't end well.
The little black kid should come up and punch him.
He was going to go murder this man point blank. I'm going to kill you with my gun.
In front of multiple witnesses.
On a property he hasn't taken full ownership of, which is why the lawyer is still mad.
Yeah,
because the paperwork hasn't cleared yet, he said.
Yep. And there's the cops. They're yeah, I have 10 witnesses that can say he just pointed a gun and shot at me. He's going to jail for attempted murder.
Okay, so what they did was she proved that they were coerced into signing. And then there's the...
So in Ernest Goes to Camp 2, it's the ensuing legal battle.
I saw the title of the camp, and I thought something very bad.
Oh, boy.
We will talk after the airing, because I don't want to have to beep it. Oh, that's right. His group, because he always wanted to be a counselor. That's right. The whole plot is they gave him, as a joke, I guess,
the misfits.
The lost cause of kids that were from juvie.
Yeah.
I forget what the little black kid was.
Mustafa.
No, Mustafa. What he was there for.
I think he was. I don't think he was a thief. I think he was just a behavioral problem. And the side hits him.
You can see he was very much influenced by Buster Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the crane shot, even with the fisheye. That's what's different about this compared to
Ernest.
Compared to all the other Ernest movies. Almost no fisheye lens.
Yeah.
Which usually makes it look a little cheaper. That's probably why this looked higher budget. Plus, a dedicated score.
Yeah. Actually, I want to see what this song is called. Okay, you're telling me that survived the explosion? I love it.
Yeah.
I miss that.
Yeah, let's actually see the credits and see
if I recognize any names. But yeah, I mean, that's Ernest Goes to Camp, 1987.
Those little scenes.
I forgot this was here. What?
Oh, so he made his own Nutty Professor formula?
I guess.
Oh, so the songs are popping up now. Gee, I'm glad it's raining.
Braveheart. That's what that song's got to be called.
From a Gary Chapman.
We'll have to see if it's on
Love.
Spotify.
Doing time. We're gonna win this one.
No, it's a man singing, so it's got to be.
It's the Braveheart one.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I mean, I really hope you guys have had a fun time kind of hanging out with us.
We're not talking about everything happening yet because
we were just all over the place, which is fine.
This is how we watch movies.
Yeah.
We're chatting, unless it's something new. If it's something completely new we've never seen, then we're pretty quiet for most of it. But, I mean, how fun would that be?
Yeah.
Iron Eyes Cody. I always like seeing if there's a name I recognize from when they were like a kid.
Jeff Standing Bear. American Red Cross. Boy Scout troops. Camp Marion. I guess that's where they filmed this. Filmed it in Tennessee.
You know what it sounds like to me? It's not the exact same voice, but similar tones, and it's almost like Kim Mitchell music from the 80s, like Patio Lanterns era, or like Alana Loves Me, late 80s Kim Mitchell.
So, folks, that's pretty much it. It's kind of starting to wrap up. So, once again, thank you for joining us here on the show. We're going to do another one of these for Christmas time, so hopefully you will join us then as we check out Ernest Saves Christmas.
I'm surprised that it's not on Disney Plus.
Maybe. We'll have to put in I would love for people to put in a campaign, put Ernest on Disney. So anyway, folks, that's going to do it for us. So take care of your turtle paratroopers. Don't launch missiles at people. And don't be John Vernon.
Also, don't let your kids play with switchblades when they're like 9.
Yeah, no. So anyway, folks.
Wait till they're like 11.
Then you're responsible. So until next time, folks, for ThisWeekInGeek.net, we have been
Alex, the producer.
I have been Mike the Birdman, saying be excellent to each other. We'll catch you guys again next time, right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at ThisWeekInGeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@ThisWeekInGeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.